cemetery at the far end of Steinfurth, which is slightly northeast of Bad Nauheim, only 10 minutes in the car. I've come to the cemetery purely to see this stone up ahead. In April 1959, Elvis, as part of a public relations exercise by the US Army, helped move a World War I memorial from in churchyard in Steinfurth. And there's pictures of Elvis, publicity photos of him helping to remove the sign and bring it here to the cemetery. It's a bit glary, but in the picture there you can see Elvis helping to remove the slab that says Gedern. If we get a better angle, not so much glare. There we are, from down in Steinfurth. Elvis helped remove that slab there, Gedern. And here it is, where it was moved to in the cemetery. This whole memorial was down in the churchyard in Steinfurth. So here we are in Steinfurth, and this is the church. This is the church where that picture of Elvis is, helping to take apart that memorial for the First World War, in preparation to move it to its current home in the cemetery at the end of town. Picture of Elvis is just around about by here, looking back that way. You see those buildings clearly in the picture. That's the direction back to Bad Nauheim. So Elvis was here April 59. Come to make a stop here at Lake Gedern, or Gederner See. Only a brief stop. Elvis was here in late August, early September 1959. He spent 14th of August at another lake that we'll be going to on this trip. That was the first anniversary of his mother Gladys's death. Then was back in Bad Nauheim, where he met with Hal Wallace to discuss the next year's film, GI Blues, the first film Elvis would make when he finishes his army service. And then shortly after that meeting with Hal Wallace, Elvis came out here for a couple of weeks. Sorry about the noise, they're cutting the grass here. But anyway, Elvis's visit here is marked with a little marker up ahead, the entrance to the campsite here at Gederner See. So I'm just going to go up and have a look at that now. So. And there it is up ahead, just at the entrance to this part of the campgrounds. Checks nothing come in. And a nice little recognition of Elvis's time here. Okay, so it basically says in memory of Elvis Presley, who visited during his military service in 1959. Yeah, so it was right at the end of August, beginning of September 59, Elvis came here. Yeah, Elvis's time here in Gederner See, at the end of August, beginning of September. He was, it wasn't a vacation, he was here. He wore his fatigues the whole time he was here. Apparently the couple of weeks he stayed here at the Finger Guest House, but it was passed off as like a reconnaissance, and it was probably reconnaissance for the military manoeuvres that were going to take place during October 59 in Wildflecken, which is going to be next little brief stop, because there's a little marker to remember the time that Elvis was in Wildflecken. It did 3 big army manoeuvres in Grafenwehr during his time here in Germany, but just the one for a couple of weeks in Wildflecken, so that's not too far from here. So that's where we're going next. No, this definitely wasn't reconnaissance for Wildflecken. This is nowhere near how far, I misjudged how far this is actually from Gederner See, so no, he wasn't doing reconnaissance for the manoeuvres here in Wildflecken, but this is Wildflecken. Well, this is at least the edge of Wildflecken, the training area, and just marking the fact that Elvis was here is this little box. I don't know what you call this. Is it the electric box? I don't know, but it's just literally the image on there, and then around the side here is Elvis was here, and something I can't read again, so let's get the Google Translate up. Elvis was here. Is it going to change? No, something changed, so we're so far out in the middle of nowhere that I think there's no signal here at all. What's that for? Jumping.
You know I can't be found.
I'll have to talk over this because that's going to be a copyright strike otherwise, isn't it? Elvis singing in the middle of Wildflecken. Don't be cruel. So I don't know if the part of the training area would have been up that pathway up there now, which is a bike trail and a walking path, or whether it was just in this general area of the hills and what have you. But it was around this general area that Elvis was here late October 1959 on army manoeuvres, and it's been marked by this over there. It's playing the whole song, Don't Be Cruel, over there, so I'm trying to talk over it, so hopefully it doesn't pick it up. Alright, now he's doing Are You Lonesome Tonight, so I don't know how much it's going to play, so we won't hang about because we've got other places to go to. We've got the longest drive back to Friedberg now, so we won't hang about, but that was a long drive out just for a little stop, but hey, I'm only here once. So this is the outskirts of Friedberg, and 1st of October 1958 Elvis landed in Bremerhaven, docked in Bremerhaven and came here. This was Barracks. This is where Elvis was posted from the 1st of October. Who's this guy? He's got the key. Anyway, most of it's gone now since the end of the Cold War, and the army bases closed down in the 90s. So there's a sign here for Welcome in Friedberg, Army home of Elvis Presley. There's a picture of the old entrance to the Barracks where Elvis was stationed, although of course he lived off base. First in Hilbert's Park Hotel in Bad Nauheim, then Hotel Grunewald from October to February, and then for the rest of the time the house on Gotherstrasse. Picture on the right there, 1st of March 1960, that's the press conference when he was going to be heading home. And the photo there, 2nd of October, Elvis arriving at Barracks. Excited the ship had docked at 1st of October, and all the troops boarded the train all the way down here to Friedberg. Yes, this is in the centre of the roundabout. The old classic jailhouse rock pose. It's a nice little monument, isn't it? This little monument for to commemorate that Elvis was here at Barracks, on the roundabout outside the old entrance to Barracks over there. And Friedberg then, the town centre, is carrying on up that road there. So this is Friedberg town centre, and this is Elvis Presley Platz over there. I'll just go over there in a moment. But notice that there's more pictures here and more information. Elvis Presley in Deutschland. All in German, but you can work out most of it there.
Flew from Frankfurt, Rhein-Main
Air Base, yeah.
To Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Yeah. Via Scotland.
Via Scotland, yeah. Oh yeah, Chris, you done that too.
Yeah. And across the road is the sign for Elvis Presley Platz. Oh look! More green dancing Elvises, look.
Oh yeah.
And here's the sign for the Friedberg Elvis Presley Platz. That's what I really wanted to see in Friedberg, was the, you know, just as we're here, just stop at the Platz and the sculpture outside the Barracks.
Which we've done.
Which we've done. And of course, so we've got two sets of lights here. We've got the pedestrian side here and on the main road there with the dancing Elvises. Right, so this morning we've come west of Bad Nauheim now to Lake Hattsteinweiher, if I've said that right. We went to Lake Gedern, or Gederner See, over to the east of Bad Nauheim yesterday, where Elvis went at the end of August for a couple of weeks. But just before that, on the 14th of August, on the first anniversary of his mother's death, he came here to Lake Hattsteinweiher. Bless you. Morgan. Yes, he came to this lake here, and there's lots of pictures because a local boy, Peter Wiedemann, I think his name was. He cycled home to get his camera and a transistor radio, and there's photos of Elvis. We can see Peter and Elvis holding the transistor radio in some pictures. Don't know where they would have been on the lake. But there used to be a refreshments building called Uncle Gustav's Hut. I shouldn't imagine it's that up there. It's a big restaurant up there, so it's, don't know if that would have passed, is it, over there? Would that have been selling refreshments back in the day? Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. But actually from the pictures, I'll try and find a picture now. but it looks like they may have been over this end, because I'm sure there's a sort of beachy area behind them before the lake, which would maybe put it from an angle down here somewhere. Let's see if I can find one. With the sun shining, I'm not sure how clear this is going to come out. There's a photo, you can see Elvis with his army cap on the left there. The boy in the centre of the picture is Peter Wiedemann, and there's the lake behind them. I'll see if I can get a better picture, but it looks as if they were in this vicinity down this corner of the park. You can't see any structures there. Obviously the toilet block down there is obviously new, well, post 1959. But yeah, it still is a very popular place. I'm sure in the summer. It's a bit chilly now in April, although it is a nice day. But Elvis was here on 14th of August 1959. So now we're going to go half hour down the road to Bad Homburg. That's Spa, so Kaiser Wilhelm's Spa. And we just want to walk over to, and there's Kaiser Wilhelm now. We just want to walk over to the other side to where Elvis spent his first weekend in Germany in 1958. So we've parked on the opposite side of the park, so got to walk through the park now. Very nice looking park though. It's very well kept. It's very nice. So this is this Steinfurth Hotel in Bad Nauheim. Back in 1958 it was the Ritter's Park Hotel. Elvis got to Germany on the 1st of October, Tuesday, and that first weekend he flew his father Werner and grandmother Minnie May and bodyguards Lamar Fike and Red West. Flew them in, and that first weekend, I think it was the 4th and 5th of October, the party stayed here at the Ritter's Park Hotel, and this is where Elvis stayed as well. So this was their first sort of residence in Germany, but just for that weekend before they moved on to the Hilbert's Park Hotel in Bad Nauheim. And it's commemorated here with a picture outside. Elvis in October 1958, King of Rock and Roll in Ritter's Park Hotel. Is there with that's Red West, and that's Margit Bergen, who came out that first weekend with the sole purpose of meeting Elvis, and she became a bit of a steady girlfriend for a while here in Germany, up until around March actually. Of course she wasn't the only girlfriend during that period. A couple of opportunistic pictures with Elvis, and then from here there's more pictures where he walked across the park on the opposite corner there, where he had this photo taken with the bust of, I'm not sure if it's Wilhelm. We'll go over now and double check. No, I just asked if there was anything in here that was commemorating Elvis.
Did you see that lawyer?
No, I didn't actually. And this is the very large lobby area actually, isn't it? Yeah. So although it's now the Steinburger, there is a nod to the old name now. The restaurant is called Ritter's. a nod to its old name of the Ritters Park Hotel. So Elvis had the junior suite, which was the second floor there. A balcony and these windows across here. That's where Elvis stayed in October for one weekend at the beginning, the first weekend in October 1958. The glare on this is not helping, but picture of Elvis's father in the bottom right of that picture, if you can make it out. But it's here with Friedberg III, and the hotel is over there just behind, across the road. So this would have been taken on the weekend of the 4th and 5th of October 58. So we're in Wiesbaden, just heading along this little street in Wiesbaden here, and this building across the road is known as the White House. And when the US Army bases were around here, this was one of the clubs that the US US forces used. It was called the Eagle Club, and it was located in this grand looking building. The old Eagle Club was an even grander Kurhaus Theatre up the end of this street there, back in the 40s and early 50s. Even Frank Sinatra played there, but by the time Elvis was in Germany, it had relocated to this building here. Now this is significant because a guy called Cary Grant was the assistant manager here, and he booked performing acts and such like. And when Cliff Cleaves, one of Elvis's buddies, came over in May 1959 to keep Elvis company in the place of Red West, who had gone home, he'd been a bit fed up with restrictions put on him here in Germany. Cliff Cleaves came over to replace him because Cliff Cleaves was always good for a laugh. But he also was a much more independent type guy, and he didn't actually hang around Elvis all that much, and he preferred coming down here and speaking to Cary Grant, perhaps to further his show business ambitions. Just a side note, Cliff Cleaves had appeared as an extra in King Creole in the opening scene where he's leaving the brothel across the street where Elvis has just been finished singing Crawfish at the start. But anyway, and the link here, of course, is that through Cliff Cleaves, Cliff invited Cary on several occasions back to the house up on Gotherstrasse in Bad Nauheim. So Cary Grant became a bit of a regular visitor to the house there. And then on the 15th of August 59, a young 14-year-old Priscilla Beaulieu had come over to America with her stepfather and mother. Moved from a base in Texas over here to Wiesbaden, and through Priscilla going to the club, she befriended Cary Grant, and Cary Grant in September asked her if she wanted to meet Elvis Presley, and that's how that started. But that was the Eagle Club in Wiesbaden back at the time when Elvis was posted over here. How many times Elvis actually went to the Eagle Club, it's not really documented,